Welcome to English 12 for Thursday, the 24th of September, 2020. Today you're going to start your Beowulf essay. You also have your quill unit to do this week, so make sure you're keeping up with that. And check your scores on Canvas. Make sure that if there's something that isn't graded that should be, you send us an email and let us know. Your experience writing essays may be different than what we're asking you to do in this essay, so we want to walk you through step by step what you need to do each day, because you're working on this today and tomorrow. So let's start with, what does this essay do? It makes a main claim or a thesis about what made someone in Beowulf society a good person. It gives specific evidence and examples from the text to support your claim. Now, this is not word-for-word quotes like you've probably used in other essays, because we studied the text a little bit differently and there's so many different translations that we pulled from. So this is just you saying what happened in the story in your own words. That is a specific example. And then you explain your evidence to show how they support your essay's main claim. This is the hard part and the most important part of the essay. It's how you link, here's what a good person was, here's what happens in the story, and here's how that shows that that made you a good person in this society. And then of course there's an introduction and a conclusion to help your reader understand your argument. We're actually going to leave the intro and conclusion for tomorrow. You're not even going to worry about that today. The only thing you're going to work on today is the middle of the essay. Now we start with the middle of the essay because that is the argument portion, that is the main portion of the essay. The intro and conclusion can come together pretty quickly once you know what your evidence and what your argument are going to be. So let's take a look at what we're specifically doing. You're going to write your thesis about what made someone a good person in Beowulf society. You're going to gather specific evidence and examples from the text, and you're going to explain that evidence. So your thesis answers the question, what qualities made someone in Beowulf society a good person? So what's an example of a quality you can use? I actually chose one that I thought you may not choose because we've looked at a couple that are maybe more obvious, but this one is one that I thought maybe you wouldn't think of. So I chose dedication to creating a legacy. Now, so I choose this quality, and now I have to think of, where do I see that throughout the story? Where does it prove in the story that that is something that's important to making you a good person in Beowulf society? So I can think about Beowulf hanging Grendel's arm up. So he rips Grendel's arm off. It's sort of the symbolic triumph over this monster that no one else has been able to best, and he is able to just easily rip the guy's arm off and then hang it up in the mead hall so they all can kind of look at the disgusting, bloody, severed arm of Grendel every time they drink. Same reason he brings Grendel's severed head back from under the sea when he fights Grendel's mother. He sees Grendel has come back to die there, and so he cuts off his head and carries it back with him to, again, show everyone what he's done and how great he is, and remind them that he is the conqueror, he is the warrior, he's the hero. So there's the fact that no army defeats him in the 50 years that he reigns. That's the part of the story that they kind of fast forward through. They go from killing Grendel's mother, and then he becomes king, and then, oh, there's peace for 50 years. So in this society, peace for 50 years is kind of a big deal. So we know that that makes him a good king and a good person. And then there's the iconic scene after he's killed the dragon that he looks out and says, "Wiglaf, please bring me all of my treasure so I can see it before I die." And then he passes off his necklace to Wiglaf and therefore gives him the legacy of, you're going to take my place, you're going to become king, you're going to reign. So all of those things are about passing on his legacy, keeping the story of what he's done alive beyond his physical body, because that's what makes you a good person, is other people recognizing that and remembering you. So let's brainstorm together right now. What qualities made someone in Beowulf society a good person? I'd like you to respond right now with your ideas in the chat. We're going to take about 2 minutes to do this. So it's okay to suggest something someone else has suggested. That shows you that you're on the right track. And it's okay to throw something out that you're not sure about, and then we can talk about it. So go ahead and do that now. You can also talk out loud because there will be silence on this video for the next 2 minutes. All right, so today your task is to choose 2 of those qualities that made someone a good person in Beowulf's time, and then brainstorm a list of examples from the story that supports it, just like the list I made for dedication to creating a legacy. This is what those paragraphs turn into. You're going to have these basic parts. Now, it's a little bit flexible, so I wanted to show you what this could look like with the example that I used before. So in the end, you're going to have 2 of these body paragraphs, one about each of those qualities that you chose. So here's mine. One quality that made someone a good person in Beowulf's time was a dedication to creating a legacy. One time you see that is Beowulf's obsession with keeping parts of Grendel's body. He not only keeps and displays that severed arm, but he decapitates and drags Grendel's head back from the undersea cave. He believes that by keeping these trophies of his conquest, he can build for himself the kind of legacy that will keep him and his kingdom safe and proves he's a good king and a good person. Later in the story, he's dying following his battle with the dragon, and he asks Wiglaf to bring the treasure out so he can survey it before he dies. Beowulf knows he's dying, but seeing the treasure reminds him that he has accomplished something and that his legacy will be as a conquering hero. The treasure is a tangible sign that he achieved greatness as a king, a warrior, and a person during his lifetime, which was what was most important to him. Being a good person in Beowulf's time meant focusing on being remembered and having a legacy that outlived you. Okay, so if you look at the outline that I've given you, what quality made someone a good person? And I use that almost exactly, one quality that made someone a good person. That first sentence, if you want to take it almost word for word and just replace it with your quality at the end of it, that's fine. And then an example from the story. Now again, this can be one sentence or a couple sentences, but do not make this the meat of the paragraph. It needs to just be a quick, like, here's the part in the story, here's the example. And then this is the most important part, how the example shows the quality and how that quality made someone a good person. So he believes that by keeping these trophies, he can build for himself the kind of legacy that will keep him and his kingdom safe. That shows how the quality exists in the story, and then moves on in the next part to prove that it's a quality that makes him a good person. Then it transitions here to later in the story. Again, you can use that transition if you're using your examples in chronological order. So later in the story, here's what happens. And then again, the meat of this paragraph is the explaining how the quality exists and how that makes someone a good person. Then I have my final concluding sentence. Being a good person in Beowulf's time meant, and then listing my quality. So again, there are some pieces here, some frames that you can take out of my paragraph to help you write yours. But it really needs to be your examples and your own words in giving those examples, as well as proving that the quality that you chose exists in the story. Each of these paragraphs needs to prove that. So you need to make sure that I understand how that quality is in the story and how that made someone a good person. So you're doing 2 of these body paragraphs. That is your task today. You are not going to touch the intro or conclusion. You are just doing that in your document, and tomorrow we'll revisit it and we'll go over intro, conclusions, and put it all together. Make sure you're doing your creative project that was assigned yesterday and it is due tomorrow on Friday. If you have questions about that, let us know. And if you have questions in general, again, please reach out. If you're behind and need to catch up, you need a plan for how to catch up, please let us know. You can drop a note in chat right now, or you can send us an email or a message on Canvas and just say, help, I need to get caught up. What can I do? And we would love to help you. So thank you guys. Good luck on writing your paragraphs today. And if you need any help, let us know.